it warms my heart hearing this kind of music. Having said that, I wouldn't have been expecting that sound anyway, because I've honestly never heard anything that sounds like that. Where did that come from? Welcome back. As you can probably tell, I have a new camera. Maybe a slight improvement, maybe not. Sure, you'll let me know either way in the comments. But hello, I'm just back from Spain a week ago, so I'm probably a little bit browner than when you last saw me. And once again, we're doing some more reactions. I have a bit of a backlog because some of you, and you know who you are, suggested multiple songs in like one single comment, so it's going to take me a while to get through them. But two of you that did that in the last video, I am including two of yours in this one, so let's get going. The first one is from the almighty Commander Emu7616 again, and last time he suggested Bass Train, which was quite a lot of fun. And this time I'm going with the second suggestion, which is Until the Grave by Andy Whitby and Energy Syndicate. Two names I do not recognize whatsoever. I'm guessing based on the last video, though, that this is also electronic music. Kind of hoping so, anyway. So, let's go.
Never stop the fucking beat, never stop the fucking rave, never stop the fucking move, never stop until the grave, never stop the fucking beat, never stop the fucking rave, never stop the fucking move, never stop until the grave.
Straight away I can tell you that this would make for excellent cardio music. Straight away. We're a minute in and I can already see myself sweating on the elliptical. Yeah, this is fun. Again, kind of outside of the electronic music that I would instinctively go for. I'm much more sort of mainly drum and bass kind of guy, but this is still fun. It's just this kind of world of electronic music. There's a whole lot of it to get into, you know, and I'm already kind of invested into drum and bass a lot, so that's why I don't know this kind of music very well, but this is very fun.
Never stop the fucking beat, never stop the fucking rave, never stop the fucking move, until the grave, 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 until the grave. It's ready to jump! No move, bitch! Never stop the fucking beat, never stop the fucking rave, stop the fucking beat, never stop the fucking rave, never stop the fucking move, never stop until the grave, up until the grave.
Okay, so I'm gonna hazard a guess that this artist / artists are from the US. It sounds very US kind of electronic music, which is not a criticism, it's just an observation. I could be entirely wrong, but in my perception, this sounds like what Americans think of as EDM, dance music, club music, rave music kind of stuff, right? Brits would think more of like drum and bass or like psytrance or something. Well, I used to live in the UK and I went to raves a lot, and I don't remember ever hearing this kind of music in a club. So this is what tells me that this, unless like times have just changed since then, it was 10 years ago or something, this just smacks of American to me. Good. Good. That was fun. Like I said, not exactly my specific genre of electronic music, because I'm quite discerning in general, but particularly with electronic music. I did like that. It was a fun listen, and I could see myself very much enjoying a mix of this kind of music, cycling or doing cardio or whatever. The only bit that I don't really need, but I understand why it's there, is the melodic bit, right? I don't need that. I don't enjoy that so much, but you know, you can't just have it as being the whole song, right? Obviously. So I get why it's there. I don't mind that it's there, but I just don't love it. Again, you'll have to tell me, Mr. Emu, if this is American. I'm not going to bother looking it up. You can tell me yourself. I have been wanting more electronic music to react to, and this is good. So, once again, thank you for this suggestion. The next suggestion comes from a name that I have not seen on my channel before, which is Thunderbolt, looks like. The comment is quite recent, and I know I have a backlog, but this one it struck me as interesting. They said, I wanted to aid your efforts to have a never-ending queue of song recommendations with Fat Dog, who I've never heard of. And basically, from what I read in the comment, it's sort of pendulum-ish, which, you know, is going to get my attention for sure. So we're going to go with Running by Fat Dog. Let's go.
I said wake me up when the shooting starts from afar. I said wake me up when the shooting starts. I'm gonna pop my bike far to hell, watch it from afar. 'Cause he's a bad soul.
I'm not sure what to think right now, honestly. At first, I wasn't really sure what was going on in the video, and now it's obviously just a cult thing, right? So, you know, fine. Knock yourself out. I'm usually very good at identifying accents in music, and I cannot work out if this guy is from the UK or from Australia or New Zealand. Definitely not American, but aside from that, I have no idea. But I like what I'm hearing. I can't really categorize it as any one thing, which is always interesting for me and quite rare, honestly, these days. Yeah, this is quite strange, and I like it so far.
Wake me up when the shooting starts. I'm gonna pop my bad beautiful train now, and he likes to see you blow, and he's got no Bible on his chest.
What would you describe this as, genre-wise? Because I got nothing. It's also hard to, which is again something that I generally don't struggle with, is deciphering whether it's entirely like electronic music production, studio-based stuff, or if these are actual instruments. I'm usually really good at being able to identify that as well, and I'm struggling this time too. This is very unusual. I really like that that kind of almost Prodigy-ish keyboard melody thing that's going on there. I'm not sure if that's been there the whole time and it's just been kind of layered in with everything else, so it's been obscured, but I like that, just that specific sound. I've liked all the sounds so far, but that is my kind of electronic melody style that I really enjoy.
I'm in the twilight zone. Bitch, I'm running from the great faults in my mind. Bitch, I'm running from the great faults in my mind. Don't blow me high.
That as well, that burp, 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 burp. Like they're really tapping into what I enjoy melodically in electronic music very much. Okay, so that's the end of the song. I kind of have everything and nothing to say about that, in the sense that I can't really compare it to anything, which is good. I can sort of see the pendulum reference a little bit. Reading this is a little like Pendulum. I was not expecting that sound. Having said that, I wouldn't have been expecting that sound anyway, because I've honestly never heard anything that sounds like that. I am impressed in that sense, because it's very rare for me to say that. I'll say critically, I will say that for what the song was, it was a little too long. I know I say this all the time, and it's probably getting boring hearing me say that, but it was 5.5 minutes. That's pushing it, as far as I'm concerned, and I liked everything that I heard in this, and there was little bits added here and there that caught my ear that I wasn't expecting, like I pointed out. But with a song that long, I feel like there could have been a little more variation. Like the beat was very, very 4/4, like continuously. It basically didn't change the whole way through. I would have evolved it slightly, maybe add in some triplets here or there just to mix it up a bit. This was good. This was a really fun suggestion. So thank you, Thunderbolt. Great suggestion, and I'm glad that I skipped this to the top of my list based on how you described it. That's why I did that. It's cheating, I know, but I can react to whatever I want. So do one. So on to the next one, which is from Gabix7488, who said, I've watched some of your videos and I see you're into, or was, into bands like Orgy and such, and I am still very much into Orgy, just so you know. And as you can see, they suggested 4 bands. 3 of the 4 I do know reasonably well, actually. So I picked the one that I don't know at all, which is Professional Murder Music. I think I may have heard the name before, but I've no idea what to expect. But if it's anything like Orgy, or like the other suggestions, Kidney Thieves, Filter and Crossbreed, I'll probably be into this too. So, let's go.
Yeah.
This is very much my kind of thing. First impression, as it started going and then the guitar came in, I was immediately reminded of Rob Zombie, Marilyn Manson, industrial-ish kind of stuff. And I can definitely see the Filter comparison. And Orgy, actually, very much so. This was a good shout. This is good. I'm gonna hazard a guess that this is actually quite old. This sounds, I'm gonna say 2000 and... I'm gonna say between 98 and 2002, at a guess. That's how it sounds to me. And there's something about the aesthetic of this album artwork that it does scream like turn of the millennium sound, which was, that was my formative time, right? This is exactly the kind of stuff that I would have been searching for back then. If I could have discovered professional murder music instead of Orgy, that's how close this is to what I was looking for at the time period in which I am suspecting this came out. That was a long-winded comment. Very post Antichrist Superstar sound. Like I can't imagine that this came out before Antichrist Superstar by Marilyn Manson. If I was drunk and someone put this on and said, "Hey, have you heard this Marilyn Manson B-side that never got released?" I'd be like, "Oh no, I haven't," and I'd totally believe him. I'll kind of be repeating myself, but that is so exactly what me and my friends would have been listening to in a house party in 2004 or 5 or 3 for that matter. It's weird. I feel like I might have heard this before, possibly, way back in the day, and it just kind of went in one ear and out the other, just like in a mix of different songs that were being played, maybe at a bar or something. It's very familiar to me, this. I'm not aware of this band. I've never sat down and listened to professional murder music before. But this is very nostalgic, just because... just based on the sound of it. It warms my heart hearing this kind of music. And this was a very appropriate suggestion for this channel. So I know a lot of bands from, late 90s, early 2000s, especially of this kind of sound. So I'm surprised I've never dived into this band before, or no one's in my personal life suggested, like, you should check out this band. Because this is exactly my kind of thing. It's weird that it's taken until now for a viewer to bring this to my attention. But this is great. I love the guitar tone. I love the very Marilyn Manson-ish drums. This is really good. I'm just babbling at this point, but I really like this. And I am probably going to have to investigate professional murder music, because it feels like I already did in an alternate timeline, right? So, Gabix, thank you very much for the suggestion. The next suggestion comes from a regular viewer, or at least a regular commenter. When I first started out this channel, one of the first accounts whose name I saw repeatedly, who is 00Varg, and I'm not sure if you've suggested anything to me before. I don't think so, but you have commented on a lot of my videos before. And so you sent me this comment a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, with a few different suggestions. And the one that I'm going to go with is Multiple Man High on the Hog, based on the description of it, which is new wave EDM or EBM, sorry, style of music. He deserves more fans. So I could possibly be about to become one. What is going on with my words today? Let's check this thing out, which is Multiple Man High on the Hog. I have a few certain songs that I will use as warm-up music in the gym. It tends to be relatively slow tempo, like 100, 110 BPM, stuff that's not too intense, something just to get my body moving, right? And this would fit very nicely into that. I was already having light visions of the elliptical again, and I like stuff like this in specific scenarios where it's not background music, but it just, I'm not focusing on it, I'm just obeying its rhythm, if that makes sense. And you know, it's not crazy distracting, right? And this would be good for that. This would also, it's just occurred to me, actually make very good video game soundtrack music. I'm getting images in my head of like a cyberpunk disco, like a nightclub in like a cyberpunk futuristic world. Again, would also fit that. Okay, I'm gonna end it there. I haven't ended a song before the end before, but it's just about to end, and I think there's not much more is going to happen. I did like this. This was quite cool. A very interesting use of like little sounds here and there. Lots of attention to detail in the soundscaping and stuff. And I can see it fitting in multiple situations, like I said, in a club or in a video game, warming up for cardio gym stuff. Like I could realistically see me listening to this in several scenarios. But the song is 5.5 minutes long, and it doesn't really do that much. Through the whole song, actually, I was anticipating something going, "Wah!" you know, and it obviously didn't. I think some progression in this would help it a lot. Nothing crazy, not you know, it doesn't have to change tempo or go double time or anything. And I mean, I'm listening to it in a very specific circumstance, right? I'm talking to you and giving my thoughts on it. So with something this repetitive, it's hard to react that positively, you know. But I did like this. It's just very repetitive, but in certain circumstances that would be exactly what you would want, you know. So I can't really criticize it for that. This was good. There was no moment that made me go, "Whoa, that's a crazy thing." Reaction, you know. Mixed feelings. Let's say I have mixed feelings on this, but overall I did like it. I thought it was pretty cool. I would actually be curious to hear more of this guy's stuff, because he's obviously quite good at this specific sound, which is a sound I do enjoy. Industrial EBM kind of slightly 80s inspired body moving music, you know. I like that stuff. So yeah, I do like it. The only thing I haven't commented on is this artwork. What the hell is this? Why is there a giant pig poking its head through a bunch of skyscrapers? What is that? Yeah, this is cool. Good suggestion. So thank you, Varg. I will... oh, and by the way, Varg, I did mention it to you, but Printer Jam. What a throwback. Righty dokey, Skip. Where did that come from? Right. The next suggestion comes from Ty Harvard again, who you may remember from the last video, the last reaction video. He gave me a huge list of stuff, so I'm gonna go through this list once again with you here. Of this list, I did Hannah Bier, We Love Sweets, on the last one. This time I'm going to do Band-Maid with the song Hate, because I have heard of Band-Maid before. I recognize the name. So yeah, let's just jump straight into Band-Maid Hate. And with a name like that, I'm expecting greatness. So once again, from Tai Havard, we have another Japanese band. I see a pattern emerging here straight away. I will say kind of the same thing I said about Hanabi, that the Japanese and that section of planet Earth have currently a very interesting style of like metalcore stuff that only they can pull off. This, even if they were to sing in English, you would know that it's Japanese, and I like that. It's interesting. It's refreshing. that was English. I don't care if you get out, I think she said. Is this whole thing been in English? Am I just being a dumbass? The reason why I find Japanese bands curious, if nothing else, is they have a different structure of melody to what I'm used to as a Westerner listening to Western music. They seem to go, when I think they're going to go like up here, they go like somewhere over here that doesn't quite go where I'm expecting it to go. So it's confusing, but it's interesting. I think that's just a cultural thing. You know, the West and the East have like different scales traditionally, so that must be the reason why. It's very curious. I am very curious. So once again, right at the end there, I'm sure she was saying, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. So either she's singing in English and Japanese and switching out one for the other occasionally, or she's got very bad English pronunciation and I can't tell what she's saying most of the time, or I'm just an idiot. All of these are perfect possibilities. The first time I've ever heard this band. Heard of them before, but never heard them, so I don't actually know if they're strictly Japanese or English or both or whatever. But this was interesting. I was expecting something a little heavier, a little more like guttural screaming and stuff. I don't know why, just my head saw the name Band-Maid and assumed that that's what it would be. I can't explain why. But this was good. This was very fun, very high energy, obviously, very much my kind of thing. Again, I'm going to kind of say the similar thing that I said about Hanabi, is that bands of that part of the world, they have a real interesting take on metal and metalcore. It can be a little jarring, in the sense that, like I mentioned about the different notation and stuff. It's jarring, but it's not putting me off, if that makes sense. Like, it's making me more intrigued than like, oh, get this away from me, you know? But yeah, this was fun. I can't really say much more than that. These were 5 very interesting songs. No duds this time. I hope the new camera setup is working for you. If not, do let me know. Just trying to give you the best experience possible. And if you're new to the channel, then do consider subscribing. And if you are already subscribed, then thank you for being here. And thank you to all of you who suggested these songs. I'm going to go now, but I still have not thought of how to end videos yet. So I'm just going to say, go away.